We have Ket Gimel. If one's wife had not previously given birth, and she now gave birth to two males, he must give away 5 selim to a Kohen. If one of them died within 30 days, the father is exempt. If the father died and the sons are alive, Reb Meir says if they gave while they had not yet divided the estate, it is given. But if not, they are exempt. Reb Yehuda says the estate has become liable. If she gave birth to a male and female, there is nothing here for a Kohen. Let's go back 1 second. Okay. He doesn't have to give the Salem right away. In other words, it says here he must give 5 Salem to a Kohen if one of them died within 30 days. So he has.
So basically, the underlying principle over here is that, as you know, Pidyon Haben is after 30 days, but that's because we have to establish that the child is actually viable. Once the child's been alive for 30 days, we know, Baruch Hashem, it's a viable child. If he went ahead and paid the Pidyon Haben before 30 days, he thought, everything's fine. And then, Rahman al-Islam, his child died, he can go back to the Kohen and claim a refund. That it wasn't actually liable to you. So the question over here is if the questions are coming about here because we've got a suffix, which one's the Bechor?
Okay. All right. Daled. If two wives who had not previously given birth now gave birth to two males, he must give 10 Salem to a Kohen. If one of them died within 30 days, and if he gave money to the one Kohen, he must return 5 Salem to him. If he gave it to two Kohanim, he cannot exact it from them. If they gave birth to a male and a female, or two males and a female, he must give 5 Salem to a Kohen. If they gave birth to two females and a male, or two males and two females, there is nothing here for a Kohen. If one wife who had previously given birth and one had not previously given birth now gave birth to two males, he must give 5 Salem to a Kohen. If one of them died within 30 days, the father is exempt. If the father died and the sons are alive, Reb Meir says, if they gave while they had not yet divided the estate, it is given. But if not, they are exempt. Reb Yehuda says the estate has become liable, and if they gave birth to a male and a female, there is nothing here for the Kohen. If two wives of two men, neither of whom had previously given birth, now gave birth to two males, each one must give 5 Salem to a Kohen. If one of them died within 30 days, if they gave both to one Kohen, he must return 5 Salem to them. If they gave to two Kohanim, they cannot exact it from them. If they gave birth to a male and a female, the fathers are exempt, but the son is required to redeem himself. And if they gave to two females and a male, or to two males and a female, there is nothing here for a Kohen.
Two males and two females.
Oh, let's say right. Two males and two females. Right. Okay.
Okay. Mishna Vav, Achas Bikra v'Achas Shelo Bikra. Shel Shnei Anashim. So you got two couples, one of whom is on her first child and one of whom is not. Okay, and they gave birth to two males, and the children got mixed up. This is always the in brackets of each of these cases is that the children got mixed up. So now we don't know whose child is whose. Okay, so the one whose wife is on her first child, he has to give 5 shekels to the Kohen, irrespective of which child is his, because he knows that one of them is his, and he has the duty to do a pidyon. Okay, so he's got to do it. Zachar and Nekeva, what happens if they gave birth to a male and a female? Ein kan lekohen klum. There's nothing here for the Kohen. However, oh wait, no, not even however. Sorry, this is not the case where there's a however, beg your pardon. Okay, moving on. Meis haben besoch 30 yom. What happens if the boy dies within 30 days? Afal pi shenasan lekohen yachzir lo 5 slayim. So if the boy dies within 30 days, then he has to then the Kohen has to return the 5 selah. La'achar 30 yom afal pi shelo nasan yitain. And if the son died after 30 days, even though the father never did a pidyon, he still has to do a pidyon on his son who lived for 30 days. What happens if the son dies on the 30th day? It's ki'ilu he died on the day before. In other words, the 30th day is considered the part of not yet viable, and he doesn't have to pay. And if he paid, does he get a refund? Possibly. Rabbi Akiva Omer im nasan lo yitol im lo nasan lo yitain. So Rabbi Akiva says the 30th day is a gray zone. right? If he's already done the pidyon ben on the 30th day, then that's it, it's done, and he can't now come and claim the money back from the coin. But if the child died before the pidyon ben, he doesn't have to give anything. What happens if the father died within the 30 days? So now we want to know, did he actually do the pidyon ben or not? The general rule is that people only do the pidyon on the 30th day, not before. Okay, so then the son is going to have to redeem himself, but unless he can prove that his father actually did do the pidyon within the 30 days, before 30 days were up. If the father died after 30 days, then the assumption is that he did do the pidyon ben unless people tell the son, look, your father was, he was sick for a long time and he never had the opportunity to do the pidyon. So then the son, when he grows up, he has to do his own pidyon. So now this guy grows up, and we've got a guy and this is a maaseh b'chol yom in the sort of less affiliated Jewish community, and I know this is exactly what happened to my brother, that he had a firstborn son, and we said to him, come, it's time for, we must do a pidyon ben. Because now people are, there's been this whole thing of the Baal Tshuva movement, and everyone's explaining, oh no, you've got to do a pidyon ben on your son. And then somebody says to him, you're also Bechor, aren't you? And we asked my parents, did you do a pidyon? And they said, like, we never knew there was such a thing. So at the same pidyon ben, when my brother did a pidyon on his son, he did a pidyon on himself as well, which is quite funny actually, because the nusach gets very entertaining.
I had to do a pidyon ben also. I had to do it because I was premature. I was in an incubator at least 10 weeks, and so I don't know. And my parents weren't alive, for me to ask. My father was, but he didn't remember anything. So like a Gusa from New York, Sender, was it Sender? What was the rabbi? I don't remember now, but they got the nusach. There's a special nusach or something you have to say if if you're or something. So they got it for me, and we had to do the pidyon ben. They didn't put me on a tray. That wasn't on a tray, but they had.
Yeah. That's always the joke when you have a pidyon ben of an adult. It's like, okay, can you really climb onto the tray? Okay, so now what happens if he's only got 5 selah? So now he's got a choice. He's got to redeem himself, or he's got to redeem his son. He doesn't have enough money to do both. What does he do? Hu kodem is beno. Says the Tanna Kama, he has to redeem himself because he's like chayecha kodmin. I mean, it doesn't say that in my commentary, but he doesn't dive deep into why his own pidyon comes first. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, Ben kodmo shemitzvasu alaviv, umitzvas beno alav. Okay, so he says no. He's specifically got a mitzvah to do his son first, because it's the mitzvah on the father to redeem the son, and the mitzvah of his son is on him. So the halacha follow. Hang on, the chachamim is that. Okay, whatever. So the logic is that the halacha is that he takes precedence over his son in such a case.
If he has himself to redeem and his son to redeem, he takes precedence over his son. If Yehuda says the son takes precedence over him, for his obligation is incumbent upon his father, but his son's obligation is incumbent upon him. So that's Rabbi Yehuda.
Yeah, and the halacha follows the Tanna Kama, that he must redeem himself first, if he only has enough money for himself.
Right.
Chamesh shalaim shel ben. Okay, so what currency do we use for the 5 shekels of the pidyon ben? Is according to the Tyrian money. That's the standard currency of the time was the Tyrian money. Similarly, shloshim shel eved, when he has to pay a knas of of 30 shekels for if his ox killed a slave. 50 shel ones v'shel mefater. There's 50 shekels for the rapist or the seducer who has to pay the fine to the father. Umeya shel motzi shemer, and similarly the 100 shekels that the motzi shemer has to pay. This is we learned this all in yesterday's parsha, right? Kulam b'shekel hakodesh. All of them is according to the sanctuary standard shekel, which is the maneh tzori. V'chulam nifdin b'kesef. And all of them may be redeemed with any kind of equivalent money. You don't literally have to have the 5 coins. We kind of like to do that because for the pidyon aben, because it just looks nice, and it's you feel like you're doing something special over here rather than like reaching into a wallet and pulling out 100 shekel note or something. Okay, the kulam niftin b'kesef v'shava kesef, or the equivalent of money. Chutz min hashkalim, except for the shekels, that's the machatzis a shekel that you have to donate to the mikdash. There, the machatzis a shekel, when you're actually donating to the temple, it has to be an actual machatzis a shekel, not any other kind of coins, because they're going to be counting the coins. And that's it, right? This is part of the census. So these literally have to be machatzis a shekel every time, and it's not an equivalent. Okay, Mishna ches ein podin lo ba'avadim v'lo b'shtaras v'lo b'karkos v'lo b'hekdeshos. Okay, so these 4 things are the things that we see commonly through the Mishnah, which have basically the din of karka, as it's fixed property as opposed to movable property. So when we have slaves, documents, landed property, and hekdesh, all of those things are considered like they're secured as opposed to unsecured things. But they have the weakness over here that you cannot do a pidyon with a shtar, or like here's an eved worth 5 shekels. Here, take this. Okay, that's not valid. It has to be with kesef or shava kesef, something that is movable. Kasav lekohen shehu chayev lo 5 shelaim. Now, what happens if he writes a shtar that he owes the kohen 5 shekels and says, "Look, I don't have the money right now. Can I just give you the shtar?" Chayev litein lo. He still has to give him the 5 shekels. Ubeno eino padoi. And the pidyon didn't take effect, because we know that you can't do a pidyon aben with a shtar. Lefichach im ratza kohen nitzen lo matana rashai. So if the kohen is nice and says, "Look, I know you meant to give me the money as the shtar because you thought you were doing a pidyon, but it didn't work. Yeah, I'll give it back to you without being mean." Okay. Hamafresh pidyon beno v'avad. What happens if he separates out the 5 shekels for the kohen, and it got lost? He still has to find another 5 shekels, because the pidyon isn't affected until the kohen actually gets the money. This as distinct from, if you recall, at the beginning of a masechta when we're talking about the pidyon chamor, right? He takes a lamb to redeem the firstborn donkey. Okay, and now he has to give that lamb. So he does the thing and says, "This is whatever the nusach is, to exchange it," and then he has to give the lamb to the kohen. What happens if the lamb dies? So that's machlokes between Rabbi Eliezer and Chachamim. Rabbi Eliezer says it's like the 5 sel of the kohen, and he's chayav b'achrayis. He has to give it another one to the kohen. The Chachamim say the pidyon's been done. It's just that he now owes a lamb to the kohen, which is different from here. Okay, but everyone agrees that for the pidyon aben, for the human, it's he has to give the money to the kohen. The pasuk teaches us that even if you lose it, you still have to do the redemption. Okay, and there ends today's Mishnah.
We are up to
Mishnah Aleph.
Aleph. On account of the following blemishes, a Bechor may be slaughtered. Its ear is not in the cartilage, nor not in the skin, or it is slit, although nothing is missing, or it has a hole as big as a vetch, or it has dried up. What is considered dried up? Anything that, if punctured, does not admit a drop of blood. The Yossi ben Meshulam says it is so dry that it crumbles. An eyelid that was punctured, notched, or slit, and there was a cataract in the eye, or a comminglinging, or a snail-shaped, snake-like growth, or a berry-shaped growth. What is commingling? The white breaks through the ring and enters the black. But if the commingling was in the black and enters the white, it is not a blemish if there are no blemishes in the white. White flecks of water that are permanent. What are permanent white flecks? Anything that remained 80 days. The Kenita Benedictino says we examine it 3 times within 80 days. What is permanent water? What is permanent water? If it ate fresh and dry fodder from a rain-watered field, but if it ate fresh and dry fodder from an irrigated field, or if it ate dry fodder and afterward ate fresh fodder, it is not considered a blemish unless it eats the dry after the fresh. Okay.
Okay, Chulin, Gimel Daled.
Yeah. And the following are kosher and foul. If the trachea was punctured or slit, if a weasel struck it on its head and a place where it does not render it treifa, if the crop was punctured, Rebbe says even if it was removed, if its intestines came out and was not punctured, if its wings were broken, its legs were broken, or half its feathers were plucked, Rebbe Yehuda says if the down was removed, it's unfit. An animal that is seized by blood, or that inhaled smoke, or that was overcome by the cold, or that an oleander, or that it ate the dung of chickens, or that drank bad water, it is fit. If it ate poison or it was bitten by a snake, it is permissible insofar as treifa is concerned, but is prohibited because of danger to life. And the characteristics of animals and beasts were stated in the Torah, but the characteristics of fowl were not stated. The Chachamim, however, said any bird that seizes its food is not kosher. Anyone that has an additional toe, a crap, or a gizzard may be peeled, it is kosher. The Eliezer Bar Sadik says any bird that parts its toes is non-kosher.
Okay.
Avos Daled Kaf Aleph. Eliezer ben Hakapeh says jealousy, lust, and honor remove a man from this world. He used to say the born shall die, the dead shall be resurrected, and the living shall be judged. To know, to make known, and to understand that he is God. Know that everything is according to the accounting, and do not lay.
Wait a second, I think you jumped.
Yes. He is the molder, he is the creator, he is the discerner, he is the judge, he is the witness, he is the litigant, and he will ultimately pass judgment. Blessed is he, for before him is neither iniquity, nor forgetfulness, nor favoritism, nor acceptance of bribes, for everything is his. Know that everything is according to the accounting, and do not let your evil inclination assure you that the grave is a refuge for you. For against your will you are formed, and against your will you were born, and against your will you will live. And against your will you will die, and against your will you are destined to give judgment and accounting before the King who reigns over kings, the Holy One, blessed is he. With 10 divine statements, the world was created. And what does this come to teach? Is it not evident that it could have been created with 1 divine statement? Rather, it is to build liable the wicked who destroy the world, and that was created with 10 divine statements. And bestow optimal reward upon the righteous to sustain the world that was created with 10 divine statements. Above base. If a woman said, receive my get from me, she needs 2 pairs of witnesses. 2 who say she said so in our presence, and 2 who say he received it in our presence, and he tore it and up. Even if the first witness are the same as the second witnesses, or if the one from the first pair and one from the second, and another join with each of them. And if another was betrothed, she and her father can receive her get. Rabbi Yehuda said 2 hands cannot make acquisitions as one, rather her father alone receives her get, and anyone who is unable to take care of her get cannot be divorced. If a minor girl said, receive my get from me, it is not a get until it reaches her hand. Therefore, if the husband wants to retract, he can retract because a minor cannot appoint an agent. But if a father said to him, go receive my daughter's get for her, if he wants to retract, he cannot retract. If one says, give this get to my father and my wife in such and such a place, and he gave it to her in a different place, it is void. If he said she is in such and such a place and he gave it to her in a different place, it's valid. If a woman said, receive my get from me in such and such a place, and he received it from her in a different place, it is void, and Rabbi Eliezer validates it. If she said, bring my get for such and such a place, and he brought it to her from a different place, it is valid. Okay. If a woman said, "Bring me my get," she may eat truma until the get reaches her hand. If she said, "Receive my get from me," she is forbidden to eat truma immediately. If she said, "Receive my get from me in such and such a place," she may eat truma until the get reaches that place. The Elia prohibits it immediately.
Okay.
Now
this.
If one person sat in the doorway but did not fully block it, and then a second person sat down and blocked it, the second one is liable. If the first person sat in the doorway and blocked it completely, and the second person came and sat down alongside him, even though the first person stood up and went away, the first person is liable and the second person exempt. To what is this case analogous? To one who locks it. What did I say? Something wrong?
Analogous.
Right. The one who locks his house to safeguard it, and deer is found to be guarded therein. The eighth shirata mentioned in the Torah, or one who traps them and one who bruises them is liable. But the other vermin and crawling things, one who bruises them and is exempt. One who traps them because he needs them is liable. If he does not need them, he is exempt. And beasts and birds that are in one domain, one who traps them is exempt, but one who bruises them is liable. We may not make pickling brine on the Sabbath, but one may make salt water and dip his bread in it or add it to a food. Said Rabbi Yossi, but this is not pickling brine, whether it is a large or small quantity. Rather, there are the permissible ways to make salt water. One first adds oil to the water and to the salt, and then to the salt. Okay. One more.
In Taurus.
Right. Okay. Okay. Hey, Teth. If a single witness says that one was rendered tame, and that person says, "I was not rendered tame," he is deemed tahor. If two witnesses say you were rendered tame, but he says, "I was not rendered tame," but the mayor moves him tame, but the sages say he has believed through himself. If a single witness says that he was rendered tame, and two witnesses say that he was not rendered tame, he is redeemed tahor, whether in a private or in a public domain. If two witnesses say that he was rendered tame, and a single witness says that he was not rendered tame, he is redeemed tame, whether in a private domain or a public domain. And if a single witness says that he was rendered tame, and another single witness says that he was not rendered tame, or if a woman says that he was rendered tame, and another woman says that he was not rendered tame in a private domain, he is redeemed tame. In the public domain, he is redeemed. He is deemed tahor. Okay. Next book. Okay. Above Aleph. Regarding a place which was a private domain and became a public domain, and then again became a private domain, when it is a private domain, its truma uncertainties are ruled tame. When it is a public domain, its tame certainties are ruled tahu. If a terminally ill person was in a private domain, and they took him out to a public domain, and he then returned him to a private domain, while he was in the private domain, his truma uncertainties are ruled tame. While he's in a public domain, his truma uncertainties are ruled tahor. If Shimon says the public domain interrupts. There are four uncertainties in which Rabbi Yeshua rules the certainty tame, and the sages rule the tahor. How so? A tame person is standing and a tahor person is passing by, or a tahor person is standing and a tame person is passing by. A tame object is in the private domain, and a tahor object is in the public domain. And a tahor object is in the private domain, and a tame object is in the public domain. There is a doubt whether one entity touched the other entity and did not touch it, or there was a doubt whether it shared a roof with the other entity, or it did not share a roof with it. Or there was a doubt whether it caused the other entity to move or not, or did not cause it to move. If Yeshua rules the tahor entity tame, but the sages rule the tahor. Regarding it,
that's it.
That was it. I thought
that's it. Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Yeah, it is. I mean, let me just check again. Yeah, it is. That is it.
Okay. Have a great day. Enjoy.
Okay.
Okay.